Caps 21 podcast. I'm Middlemarch. My co-host is Piv, and we are with Max Fowler talking ordinals. Cold open. What, Max, are we looking at right now? What is this image? If you look at this image, what do you feel?
The magic.
On this week's episode of the Caps 21 podcast, we chatted with our guest, ordinals expert Max Fowler, about ordinals, whether they mean it's all over, how much it costs to inscribe on Bitcoin versus storing on Ethereum, the original Bitcoin wizard who said that you shall pass around internet money, learning to program with AI and with Stack Overflow, the end of human culture as we know it, image magic, and leather jacket wearing.
This is Max Fowler, artist from the UK, here with Capsule 21.
This is the original wizard in nerd stuff, as I see it. You know about image magic?
Okay, no. I have no...
So this is basically a way of editing images. And I bring this up because I want to confront you with this because you are involved in a different wizard thing in the ordinals world that I believe draws some inspiration from one of my favorite nerd wizards. And maybe a better cold open for you is, what is this? What is this? And what is this? What are these two images?
Okay, so that is... Okay, so this is new model I've been fucking around with, which is like image detection, YOLO NAS. It's called, it's like an object detection, sorry. So I just got that model working last week. So I've just been throwing shit into it really. Today I've actually been I'm trying to fine tune it on some stuff, but I kind of only half know doing, so hopefully it will work. You know, it's I suppose people are using it for like I mean the use cases are is like everything, right, for the object detection, because it's like all the automated driving stuff has it and this. But
so this is basically feed it into the computer and it tells you this is a vase. And so this is the thing that people say is going to kill all of humanity. I mean, please, come on. This is not a vase, pretty obviously. I would say it's a hat. You know, would be my call, but like, what do I know? I'm just a human, but what's the deal? So this is a vase.
That thinks it's a vase, but it looks like a wizard's hat to me. But
yeah, it's a wizard's hat right there. So I'm not too worried about AI now. Finally, I've been a very big doomer, but of course the wizard hat is deep within the lore, and this is, you know, we want to get into lore here. We want to get into ordinals. We want to understand. I, for one, have been so upset about the whole situation because I was not able to capitalize on it as a way to provide for my family because I was too slow. So I've sort of not been down to really engage, and I didn't want to learn about it, but you're going to tell us. The hat, of course, is related to the wizard meme. And I don't know, is this a big meme? I didn't even know. Like wizards, okay, ordinals. And then there's this website about the wizard. There's Taproot. There's the word Taproot. Root. There's the word root.
It was originally the I mean, from what I know, I'm not an expert, you know, and I used to fuck around with Bitcoin back in the day to do certain things. I won't talk no more about that. And if I, you know, I'm not tech savvy and stuff, but from what I gather, because I'm fairly close to Far, you know, Oxfar, who ended up doing the shout out to Far, by the way. And all them lot. You know, he ended up doing the art for it, but originally it was a guy called Maven's Bot. It was his exactly. So this is the OG one, Maven's Bot, if I'm correct. And then he kind of gave them guys like Udi and Far, who are all kind of Bitcoin OGs. He gave them permission to use it. I think, I believe, you know, I'm sort of, you know, whether this is 100% correct or not, I'm not sure. But from what I gather, this is kind of my vague understanding of it.
And so the basic idea is, and I don't know how big the meme is, but the wizard, here's a wizard emoji. I don't know if you can call this emoji. It's kind of like an image.
I posted it in our Discord. Yeah, there you see it too.
And so this is related to, right, okay, so we have magic internet money. So, but magic internet money, I thought was an Ethereum concept.
It's the OG meme. That one's the OG meme. It's a Reddit thing, you know? It's a Reddit. This is all Reddit. Shit, I think. You know,
right. So the wizard, this makes sense. So the wizard basically stands for the magic aspect of this, which is basically what is anyone talking about with any of this? It's all made up. Just like the wizard gets rid of the what does he say? He says that thou shalt not pass. You know, remember that's like one of the iconic wizard moments. You don't know thou shalt not pass. Okay. You know, I just think this is one of the biggest you know, like this kind of thing. This is the sort of wizard that I know.
Yeah.
You know, this is the Gandalf. Shall
yeah, he's getting like that's when he's really getting emotional because he doesn't
right.
want them
So
to
he doesn't want them to pass. Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is the wizard, and this was the wizard of, you know, my young adulthood, and now we have this, which is more you know, a little more informal, as you know, we've been talking. So basically this was posted, and give me a timeline on this, approximately. Everything I say is just give me a, you know, about when was this posted.
When was this made?
Yes.
Fuck, I think like early Bitcoin days, I think, you know.
Got it. Okay. So this like invented the phrase magic internet money?
So it was like I believe it was like a Reddit.
The R, to me, I don't know anything about Reddit. I'm almost 40 years old, but the R is I love this. So magic internet, did this invent the phrase magic internet money? I think this is really the core of the issue.
Possibly not.
Pib, what do you think?
If this is
Did this invent the phrase magic internet money? Are both of you frozen? Did the feds, you know, it's like, I know it's Bitcoin, so it's like controversial. You don't want to say the wrong thing with the coin.
I don't know quite enough, you know. I mean, I'm fortunate enough, been around far, you know, really, and you know, that's sort of my friend, and we do some stuff together, help him out a bit sometimes with things, and you know, I'm lucky just to, you know, you're around the right people, you know, you kind of get put onto stuff, so that's really, I gotta give props to Far. Because without him, I wouldn't know shit about shit, you know.
Who's Far? Can I tweet? Can I look up his Twitter? What's this guy's name?
Hell yeah.
How do I spell that?
FAR.
He's literally FAR on Twitter?
Maybe Oxfar, I think is his handle.
Ah, got it. Okay, so this is the person. Okay, got it. Okay, so the wizards. Okay, we got the links. Okay, so essentially, now I'm starting to understand. I'm trying to decode this, getting into the deep. This is nice. Getting into the deep aspects. Okay, we have the Zora. Okay, so essentially, this meme was posted, which is an amazing meme. Okay, it was made in MS Paint. Not really. That's funny because like this was actually made in like super advanced drawing thing, and to make it look like MS Paint, you have to do a ton of work, you know, that kind of thing. You'd actually be surprised how hard it is to. Anyway, it looks low effort. It looks informal. Who knows? But the point being, they took this meme, which is an meme, and then they jammed it into this Taproot meme, and now there's Taproot Wizard. So what is
Taproot? Is the isn't it? I'm not the crazy technical. I'm only going to say what I think I know. We only know what we think we know anyway, don't we?
Mm-hmm.
And we store data in the TXOs and that sort of thing, right? In the transactions that when you send Bitcoin or something.
Right. So you got the Taproot, and the Taproot was basically the beginning of the end for society, right? Because now everything is it's all just like emergent now. Like no one cares about the original idea of the thing. Everyone's just twisting the system, using it, and hey, it's all good. But like, I don't know, Piv, you've been around a very long time with Bitcoin. Piv is actually, for those who know, one of the earliest Bitcoin adopters. Just gonna roll with that for now. Prove me wrong. You know, did you back in the day when you were memeing Bitcoin, Piv, did you ever foresee that people would be doing informal things with the network in a way that is
no, not at all?
Because Bitcoin to me was always like the stern, you know, I don't want to be like gendered here, but like the stern patriarchal, like I'm gonna kill you if you step out of line. I mean, that's just one interpretation of it. And then Ethereum was kind of like the fun-loving, like cool kid who doesn't care what his parents think, or it doesn't, you know, their parents think. And so, how did this happen?
Yeah, with Taproot.
Yeah, but it's just like
it was always like Ethereum was the break things, and Bitcoin was the very conservative thing.
And you know, it's just like it's like if Batman kills Joker, right? Like that's not supposed to happen. You know, you need both. You need good and evil. If Batman killed Joker, he would be like, oh, I'm so depressed. I have no purpose in life, you know? the balance that you had with Ethereum and Bitcoin when you could kind of grok that thing, that was kind of a nice balance. Where now it's the reverse. Now Bitcoin is the crazier one because you can put way more stuff in it, essentially. It's cheaper than Ethereum. It used to be more expensive or something, or thought it was more serious. But now, as I understand it, right, doing the graffiti in the block is actually cheaper in Bitcoin than Ethereum. And
fucking expensive right now, though, isn't it? To inscribe and shit. I thought it was gone crazy.
That's a good question. How can I see how much? I've never inscribed, by the way. So if you're watching this and thinking like, wow, like I love Tom, I love Middlemarch, like think again. I've never inscribed. Piv, have you inscribed? I know you've inscribed, Max, so I'm not going to put Piv. Have you inscribed?
No. I only have the ones Max did.
Okay, so Max, help me out here. Help us out. If I wanted to inscribe a thing and I first want to see how much it costs, how do I even see that? You've done this before.
Yeah, I used man, do you know what? I used a platform called Gamma as soon as it happened, as soon as it all started. Which had been offering that service maybe like not for that long. I was in a Discord, you know, the basically before I got anything inscribed. This is about, I remember it's about the 9th of February. And before I got anything inscribed, it's basically someone had come in Discord. I'd heard about it. Someone came in a Discord and they were like, oh yeah, you can use this platform. I looked at the platform. I was like, get the fuck out of here, scam. And I was like, let me check this out there. And I saw it and I was like, holy shit, you can do it there. And then I was looking at the inscriptions and it was like, it was still under 30k. And I was like, I better get some shit done now, because not only is this this is pissing people off, which immediately I like, because it's anything that's, again, you know, it's like, it's interesting. It's like, oh yeah, they've used this tech to do something you're not supposed to do. No one really knows what's going on. And I'm like, I need to more than anything, like, fuck the money, man. I'm not about trying to, if I wanted to make money, I wouldn't be a fucking artist. You know what I'm saying?
What would you be doing? I'm looking to make money. What should we do? No, I'm okay. Go on. Yeah.
There's lots of things you can do to make money, but making good art isn't fucking one of them. Trust me. Anyway, but so I was like, I better do this because I want to be part of this. This is happening now, so it's like it was more a cultural.
Yeah. So ordinals. Oh my, this is probably the corniest thing I've ever seen. To put the original Bitcoin white paper on ordinals thing, like, please, like, ugh. Yeah. No offense. I'm sure this is a good call. This person's good. I'm not trying to criticize or critique anything, but just for me personally, I would prefer not to see this.
It's probably, as you see it now, it's probably done 1,000 times already.
Right.
Sorry, I just cut out a bunch. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no, fine. All good. Yeah, so you saw this and then you saw it was early. And right now we are looking at Uncommon Sats, which is a collection that is uncommon or sat rarity or something. So help me understand this, because this is something you did a good job of. So I'm looking at this. Obviously, it's wizard themed, which, okay, let's relax. Okay, Pepe. Okay, Piv likes Pepe. This is something, I'm seeing this number here. So the idea is you were under 30K, whereas this is 7 million. And this is selling for 18 grand. Maybe I'll buy it. Is that how to understand this?
Yeah, I don't really get it, man, too much. Like, to be honest with you, the sat stuff, it's like what makes a rare sat. That's all a little bit beyond me, if I'm honest with you.
But you were here. If I were looking at your thing, which maybe I should look at here, I don't know how to get to your thing here. If I were looking at your thing here, instead of seeing 7 million, I would say 29,000 or something.
No, as I was saying, it's like I saw the thing get to, it was at 30k, like, shit, better do this, and then suddenly it's at like 8k. So then I was like, well, let me do a fucking project, because this is cool, you know. So let me try and sell it. Let me try and use ETH to sort of sell it, because obviously the tech isn't there.
Yeah, I mean, that's an issue, right? You can't actually sell these things, although you sort of can. You know, the reason that people don't like this, or the reason I don't like this, or the reason like I level 1 don't like this, but I like everything or whatever, is that, as we've often discussed on the pod, right? You have Ethereum, and Ethereum has all of this stuff. Now, it's all LARP, as we discussed, because, you know, anyone can just fork Ethereum, and, you know, if you fork Ethereum, probably no one will use it. But if you're, you know, Vitalik or OpenSea and you fork Ethereum, people probably will use it. So the entire system of Ethereum is predicated on informal social consensus. But if you swallow the pill that whole thing works, which, maybe it does, I don't know, I'm not, trying to judge, then it's actually like adjudicated in a computer way. So if you sell something or you lose something or your assets, like you don't get to turn to, the nice, magistrate or whatever. It's all done by computers. And so that's cool. You can buy and sell things. You can do all this stuff. It's all done through smart contracts. Now, with the Bitcoin thing, basically, I understand it, right? You have the notion of the data being stored on the blockchain, but everything surrounding that data, like, for example, the order of the ordinal, when it's traded or whatever, all this kind of stuff is done off-chain, right? By other people who aren't necessarily even involved in the blockchain, who are just like looking at the blockchain and interpreting it in a certain way. And with Ethereum, there's like this standard interpretation of the blockchain because there's a way for smart contracts to interact, that it's adjudicated by computers. But with Bitcoin, there's really no, as I understand it, standard way of doing this, right? Like these are ideas and lenses. So you put on ordinals glasses in your house and you can see the ordinals, but you don't have to put that on. Whereas if I own an NFT in Ethereum, it's like you have to admit I own that. So it's the glasses, basically. And people don't like this because it's really shoving the social consensus aspect in your face. It's saying, hey, Ethereum has this much social consensus. And for those listening, I'm doing a small space. And now this all new Bitcoin stuff has a way bigger social consensus. But in another way of looking at it, like it's all social consensus anyway. So, kind of who cares? And
do you not think that it's just very creative devs to like kind of find these solutions and stuff, because it's still kind of in.
I mean, I think it's dope. I think it's dope as an idea. I mean, I think it's great. Look, anything where you're putting stuff on chain. I mean, my original interest in the blockchain was this, where I made this project called Forever Message. Okay,
Same.
which
I mean,
is
I didn't so it's not.
Basically, this Forever Messages project was a way of writing something on Ethereum so that it would last a long time. And these are NFTs, which is not, essential really. I just wanted something that could be out there. And in fact, some of these things aren't even NFTs. Some of these things are just Ethereum log messages, which are sort of similar to the Bitcoin case. Yeah. So, for Forever Message, I think it would have been very dope to just have this on Bitcoin and, whatever you need a way to find it. This was my very first Forever Message. I put some newspaper stuff in it.
I mean, that's the interesting thing about the ordinals when I was, whatever doing it. And it's like you look at the stuff that was getting inscribed, and it was not a lot of artists inscribing stuff.
Right. It's sort of more just like, putting it out there. How do you find the first one? Great inscriptions, single image, high resolution. Okay, let's just look at this for a second and we see how we feel about this. Continue. Oh, we got it. Wow, this is great. Okay, so why? So this is very expensive.
Yeah, it's. I think it's kind of this to inscribe.
So it's gone up in cost.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, there was all in like a lot of crypto news a couple of weeks.
So how much would this cost?
Even out a bit. I mean, people say it's going to it should settle again. Learning every day about all this technology, a lot of the technology stuff,
So this is a 105 kilobyte JPEG image, okay, and it costs this. It would cost about 10 times this to put it on Ethereum blockchain.
Okay, oh, really? That's right? Quite big. 100K. Yeah. So trying to keep them.
Be over $1,000. Now that's at 35 Gwei gas price too, so that's just a random number. If you did 30, it'd be 9, but basically 10 times. And the question might be to someone casually looking at this is who cares, right? Like, why would you care enough to put it on the 10 times more expensive one? Like, why don't we just put it here on the cheaper one? And this is the why Ethereum people are, don't like this basically, because
I didn't even know that there was this that this was happening. There was that much. I mean, I know that there was. I was more like aware of all the the kind of pushback from the Bitcoin maxis.
Right, so it's both sides. I think it's both sides, basically. And I don't think ETH people are really pushing back, or maybe they are. I don't know that many ETH people, but, you know.
It's always going to be, there's always going to be, we live in a world of, all right, social, like this is all driven by social media as well. We've got to remember, social media operates because outrage is a commodity. It's an attention economy, okay? So it's like that feeds on tribalism. It feeds off of human tribalism, which is instinctly in us. So it's like people always going to be picking some sort of.
But at some point, you there's reality, right? Like at some point, the government says to you, like Piv, you told that moving story about, you know, the bank fees eating up your money, or, you know, some kind of thing where, you know, the big guy kills you, you know, and so at some point the big person kills you, and maybe you could have protection or not. And that's when it's not a meme, right? Like maybe Bitcoin actually protects you in some way from some government chancellor on this verge that can bail out for banks. You know, Ethereum actually protects you from censorship, right? And so the notion would be that the ability to do real things is based on the technology involved. And so maybe that matters. Or you could say, listen, it will never do a real thing. And it's all pure LARP, which, as we discussed on the last podcast, a pure LARP is like pretty good, you know, like as you can get these days versus an impure pretend LARP. So I don't know, Piv, what is your feeling on this?
Yeah, I don't know. It's indeed it was much more clear before. I think like a couple of years ago, it was indeed, as you said, Bitcoin was it felt quite stable, and now much less so, I think. But it will find a new equilibrium, I guess.
But maybe it won't. So this is my question, you Piv, is like your interest in this thing and everything. Like, what if it just doesn't? Like all of the memes about the chancellor's second bailout for banks, all of this stuff. What if it, you know, even NFTs and the importance of provenance? What if all of these important, quote unquote, real technology-based things just kind of go away? And basically, you know, because right now, what if Bitcoin just turns into a place where you can post images? Like it's Instagram, you know, coin, but it's more expensive. It has the veneer of a thing that used to be good. And so people like it. But like, you know, one answer to this is, who are you to say anything is anything? It's just the rules of the system, and anyone following those rules is fine, and you're a loser. That's one thing you could say. But another thing you could say is, hey, it might not be good overall for this to become Instagram because of the chancellor or whatever.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, and when will we know?
True.
Will we know if it's all lost, if it's all gone?
It's extremely hard to, you know, the richness of history. I feel like Marx said something like this. Like, there's no way any historian could ever capture, you know, the richness of history and the way in which social upheaval transcends all boundaries. You know, scientific revolutions are also political revolutions, are also everything's revolution. It's everything. It's impossible to put these things into categories. It's way worse at the time, right? So
yeah.
Obviously, I could be missing the entire boat on this, and this is the best thing to ever happen to the people who hate the chancellor. Brings attention to Bitcoin. Like, I don't know, you know, you know, the classic argument here would be, you know, Bitcoin is only as secure as the demand that there is for the block space. And so if you have more demand for this kind of stuff, people have more incentive to secure the other transactions. So kind of you are, you know, as always with these things, with the blockchain, it's like good for other people who you don't care about to be using your blockchain, because then those people are, you know, you're more diversified. People are paying to secure everyone else's thing. So if there's high demand for art, then it becomes more expensive and secure on the money side. If there's high demand for money, which there never is, or whatever, it becomes more on the art side. So, you know, these are why, you know, typically, you know, it's better to have, after Ethereum, these general purpose chains. But this isn't really a chain, though. Is that you know, it's not really quite the same thing. But still, yeah.
Someone also tweeted if JPEGs can destroy Bitcoin, it wasn't that good after all.
Right. Well, you don't even need JPEGs. You just need, you know, I think it's always been just known, right? Like the level of the throughput level and everything. It's like you could just have people sending ordinary transactions at a super high gas or whatever it is rate and just drive the transaction costs up. It's just block space, right? So it's like, you know, if you have the market system, right? And this is supposed to be brutally market-based because there's no one else you can trust, right? It's just the system exists and people can, that's not market literally, but it's like people, mine and do the thing and you have to try, there's no other person to adjudicate it. Then you don't know, what's ultimately going to, you don't know what's ultimately going to happen in this way. And so,
another thing is that, like a couple of years ago, the big critique on Bitcoin was always the energy production or the energy use.
Yeah.
It was always like it uses too much energy, and now that's like almost entirely gone. Though I heard the exact same arguments yesterday against AI. It was like it uses far too much energy to train them, and it will use, and it was exactly the same. AI will boil the oceans. That was what it said.
Well, it will boil the oceans, but for a different reason. Because it's going to kill all of us with the killing our ships. That'll be the first thing. So you really don't think that the Bitcoin energy argument is as prevalent now as it was in the past? People are not talking about this as much. Basically, they've grown tired of it. That's an interesting point.
Well, I don't see it a lot now. Though that was something that maybe mostly came from outside.
Right.
Maybe it's just because Bitcoin is now, there's this bear market again, and it's not that often in the mainstream media.
Right.
They think again that it died, that it's gone forever. That's what they think, and then they're super surprised when it comes back.
I don't know. Maybe they won't be surprised this time because it won't happen. I don't know. Maybe it'll happen. But right. So, and then of course the Ethereum proof of stake thing, which of course to me was the one of the worst things that ever happened. But it's fine. But yeah, I think the energy argument becomes more vicious when it's like, hey, this is a system set up where it's literally just the JPEGs now. Because look, you have to admit, I think even a pro JPEG person would have to admit and say, hey, there's something called a denial of service attack, right? We acknowledge this, like when 10 million people go to some website and the website can't work. We don't say, well, the system works, people are just using the thing. Or it's like there are inefficiencies that happen when people test a system's boundaries or whatever. You can DDoS a website, and that's actually very bad. Like when you go to there are whole companies that people pay, Cloudflare, right? Protect me from a DDoS attack. And Cloudflare says, okay, well, we're going to do that, but you have to pay us, and we probably use energy too. And it's like a whole, thing. And so there's no Cloudflare for Bitcoin, right? And so if there was no Cloudflare for the internet, you'd think, well, maybe the internet's worse on that point. But so my point being, it would be bad if it's impossible to send money with Bitcoin. I mean, come on, can we agree on anything?
It's like also if everyone decided to walk on one certain bridge at a certain time in London, the bridge would fucking collapse or some shit. If people decide to go to one place, there are forces in the universe that make sure we're not all in one place at the same time, that are beyond us, and these do, I think, transcend into the digital world as well, to some degree. I mean, maybe that's a bit out there, but
no, I love that. This was one of the classic things when I was in nerd college, learning nerd philosophy. There was this guy Kant, and he apparently had a bunch of kooky ideas. But one of his ideas was basically to know what is ethical, you should say, is this idea universalizable? Can I say, hey, do unto others as they would do unto me? Like if the idea is good for me to do, but not good for other people to do. So it's like, should I rob this store? Well, it's good for me. I get the money. But if everyone went around robbing stores, that'd be bad. And so there's this classic cute objection to it where it's like, well, because of what you just said, everything is unethical. Because I said, hey, I want to go to this bridge in London. I've imagined, well, what if everyone went to this bridge right now? It would break. It's like, what if everyone went to lunch at 1 p.m. today? Society would collapse. And so how do you?
Everyone wanted to eat a burger at the same time. There wouldn't be enough burgers,
They would be all crowded over each other at McDonald's, breaking the doors down. It would be cause total chaos.
It would look like Mid-Journey render,
Yeah, exactly. Everyone, it's like so the point being one way you could look at this and say it's the stupidest critique ever, and it probably is in a way, but to your point, it's like you just don't know what is a DDoS attack and what is people just doing good things, and good things at the same time in the same place makes the bridge collapse. So I think that's actually an interesting, pretty good point there. And
the right people are there, they could be building a bridge as well. Do you know what I mean? You get enough of the right people with the right mindset in the same place, then there are positive forces that can come out of that, which are also kind of otherworldly and beyond our, you know, our comprehension as well. So,
and so that's another good point, right? Where it's like, how do you know if you are collapsing the bridge or building the bridge, right?
yes.
Literally, how do you know? Not in some, you know, kind of cutesy way, but literally, how do you know, right? And what this all seems to say, if you're talking about blockchains and just following the rules, it's like, there's no way to know. And yet, I think I sometimes know when I'm building it versus collapsing it. I really have some sense if I'm killing or helping. But with the ordinals, it's like, well, you don't know. I don't know.
It's a moral compass. We need to live our lives with the fact that most humans are kind of have a decent moral compass and are trying to do.
It's not even moral compass. It's like literally on the merits, as you know, you can know 100 years from now. But like, are ordinals saving Bitcoin or is it or ordinals collapsing the bridge or building the bridge? You know, we don't know.
Do we even know yet? Do we? I mean, there's going to be tech that comes out. There's going to be people that are building stuff like right now, and maybe in the next year it will be like, oh shit, we didn't even know that was going to happen because it hasn't happened yet. It's going to be something. So, you know, there's a lot of problem solvers, I suppose. I mean, and if it's not, I don't know. I'm attempting to be optimistic. I'm not a very optimistic person generally, but I'm pretending.
Well, I mean, I'm optimistic that we will see interesting things.
So yeah, absolutely. And I'm optimistic that there's like, ever it is, it's going to be anti-establishment. For the old establishment, it's kind of very much there is an establishment that has been formed now. But I mean, I suppose that's why ordinals is good, because it's like the anti-establishment to the already anti-establishment. You know, it's like,
yes, I agree. That is a fascinating element, you know, too. It's like, how can you, anti-establishment, really criticize this? Well, one criticism would be make your own frickin' thing, you parasites. But, you know, at least the original anti-establishment people did more work, right? Or did they? I mean, was I think creating Bitcoin and having it be around for 10 years or more is harder than, sorry, everyone, numbering the Satoshis. Or no, I don't know. Maybe they're the same difficulty. And does that matter?
I think we're going to be surprised. I mean, especially like, you know, how programming and artificial intelligence of like what artificial intelligence is opening up for people non-programming background, myself included. I think I'm a perfect example. I would have never started messing with programming and AI has just given me this confidence, man. I'm not technically minded necessarily. I've messed with, like, you know, computers and stuff. Not I didn't have a computer till I was like 26, 7. So it's given me this confidence to actually be like, well, actually I can do this. I can understand it. And then in turn you start learning, because it's like, well, I'm not doing it so AI does it for me. I'm doing it so I can accelerate a learning process.
Yeah, but AI does stuff, right? Like, I agree with you. AI, you know, it's like pretty simple.
I understand what it's doing, right?
Right. Like I can say,
how do you do this? And then I can learn from and with the AI. We learn together almost. I'm learning from it. It's learning from me. You know?
Okay, so here we go. This is my proof that AI is good.
AI, I use Bard, I use GPT probably about 4 to 5 hours a day. You know, I can put the fucking GitHub repo into Bard, and it can look at. I don't know how much of it can see, but it's like, I love it, man. It's crazy, you know. It's just giving me this confidence. That was one of the first pieces of code I ever looked at. Was Piv sent me some. I was like, oh, what's this? And he was like, how did you do that? And Piv's like, oh, here's the code. Go and look at it. I was like, okay, cool. I know it's maybe like 8 months ago, and
yeah, I mean, this is dope. Look, I asked it, and I get this. Did that not work? Oh no, console. What the? Where is this? Why can't I print it? How do I print something? You can't. Oh no, it's no verbose. It's no verbose. Okay, there we go. There's the star. So it just created this program that prints out the star for me. How the frick does it know how to do that? So this is the classic. Well, now the AI is also, you know, completely controlled by the chancellor. So that would be the downside of the AI thing, which is you don't see, you know, the hidden cost to when I put this stuff in here. It's like profiling me and whatever, but yeah, at least this does something. Like with the ordinals, it's like, what does this do? Sorry, I'm trying to be controversial here, by the way. I'm all love in real life if you're listening to this. What does this do? This doesn't do anything. I'm looking at a bunch of images. This looks like Instagram. What does this actually do? It's like, as a normal human being, like, explain to me why this is actually better than, I guess it's because you can see, hey, the order in which, you can tell this was before this. Basically, it's like a numbering system, which is dope. But like the idea is who actually like does this actually end up getting used, and kind of more fundamentally, how do you know that the numbering system is what it is? Well, you have to turn to some trusted person to tell you. So there's no way to look at like the blockchain in a pure way. So it's like, what is the difference? Whereas with the AI thing, and then you could say like.
What's the comparison with AI and ordinals? I mean,
sorry, go on.
What the comparison is? What, AI to ordinals? Or
AI does something. What ordinals do?
Is ordinals not Ethereum spreading into Bitcoin? Like it wouldn't exist if it wasn't for. Like that's the thing. They're not that separate, really.
Right, so Bitcoin
actually, it's only within our world and these niches that we traverse on a day-to-day basis. There seems to be this differentiation, but actually, it's the same people. Right? You look at a lot of the early inscriptions. Why are there punks and the ordinals? Why is there this? Why is there the frogs? Why are there the stupid ass monkeys everywhere? You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, I can tell you why there's the punks. I know about the punks. It's because people love those little
sure. But I mean, it's no Ethereum, no NFT culture on Ethereum, no ordinals really.
Right. Yeah. No. Definitely. I mean, I think they're
not that far from each other. It's not.
Yeah. It's like, well, but it's it's a collectible culture. It is a it's like they had the Pokemon card controversy where people were stealing them, and so I think there is a it's a good mechanism for ensuring this is the Marx thing actually. If this quote is correct, this is actually kind of an interesting quote, because many people whatever, that Marx said, history is the first time tragedy, history repeats, the first time is tragedy, the second time is farce, which I don't totally understand what he's even talking about here, but it's a famous quote. But then in this, he's basically saying, Marx was saying, hey, that line is just in the context of saying something Hegel forgot to say when he said the same thing. So it's actually like kind of not even his idea. He's just sort of leaving a little flip remark, like Hegel forgot this line. I don't think Hegel actually forgot it. Anyway, so okay, what else can we see? So there's this, right? Taproot Wizards. I tried to log into this. It didn't even work. What is this? Because this is related to the hat. This is Taproot. This is your thing. You've tweeted about this. What is this?
Which one? Sorry,
the thing I just pulled up, the wizard one. Taproot Wizards.
Well, that's their website. Yeah, I don't really know, too much. It's like far enough they're like Bitcoin is actually, and it seems like everyone else has kind of made it into like whatever it is, but it seems to be popular.
There's like quests
people
here.
Are looking for new shit. People are looking for new stuff, I suppose, all the time as well. It's like,
so this is you here, right? This is 40,000 basically inscription. So this is what you were saying, right? This is a cool image, by the way. How did you create this image? What was your process here?
That is that's a P5 generative script that I'd done, and again, it's one of the first pieces. But I got AI. It was on its side, so I got AI to help me do some shit. I got GPT in very early days to just help me like do some stuff with it. So it's a bit of a collaboration. It's kind of funny.
So you wrote the script, and then it kind of helped you edit it, basically.
Yes, exactly. But I also didn't write the script. Took someone else's script, and I completely fucked with it because I can't write code. I mean, maybe I'm getting there now. You see, this is the thing. I didn't think I could, and then now through AI and fucking with it, and it's like suddenly you're in this, and it's like, okay, yeah. This. Now I'm programming Arduino, like my little Arduino, and making like UIs and stuff on physical. Because to me, this is where it's all about. It's all about the physical. There needs to be a physical. It needs to be a physical thing. For me, program was always like, I want to make these little screens. I want to make these sculptural pieces, right? You kind of use this. I want to make site-specific or more like object-specific AI devices. Which I don't know how they'll the work exact. But anyway, this was always my intention. So this is what really drove me to like learn programming, to be like, oh, I just want to have some autonomy over this. And then I think no more it's like you're learning little pieces. It's like, okay, well, okay, this is C++. Okay, well, Python stuff mostly looks like, okay, so this is better for this. This is what web dev, like I didn't know shit, this time last year, I didn't know nothing, so it's
amazing. I mean, I'm, good at programming. I've done it a lot, whatever. I picked it up using this website called Stack Overflow, basically. Like that was you ever heard of Stack Overflow?
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So that thing came out. It's a Q&A site where you get points for answering questions about programming. You can post questions. And for a period of time,
answers on there, yeah. I found some good answers on there. Stuff I'm looking for, like, is some good info.
Yeah, it's a great site. And for a period of time, and this was a while ago in 2008, I guess, so the site wasn't that big, but still, for a period of time, I was the #1 worldwide question asker on the programming language Ruby, which is the one I was trying to get. I asked more questions and got more votes on those questions. I didn't answer any questions, but you get points for asking good questions. If you Google, I'll put this up.
That's what I love about AI. I can ask it questions all day. It doesn't get annoyed. It doesn't tell me, that's enough now. It just gives me answers. Like it just gives me answers and stuff. And then I can
check this out. I'm going to brag for a second. So if you Google generate random string JavaScript, right? That seems like something you might want to do. First result, you click, boom, asked by me, baby. Come on. Like, do you know how dope that is? 2,700 upvotes. Nice. So, yeah. And there's so many answers. People saying, here's how you do it. Here's how you do it. 5 million pages. So anyway, this is the type of thing I did. And this was how I learned. And it was all through this kind of thing. Before Stack Overflow, there was basically no way to learn programming. There was like no actual way to learn it through specific things. You could read a book, which I think books are good. And then this thing came out, and you could actually like find questions and answers, and it totally changed the game and made it possible for me to learn programming. And then you have to understand, this is a pretty basic question, right? I want a 5-character string. I asked this here. There's no other way to get this answer, essentially. Like, how would you get this? You'd go find a book that has this, or you'd learn from first principles how to do it. No one cares about first principles. Everyone just wants to copy paste. And so this was that. And then AI is just 20 trillion times better, than this, because it will answer any question and write you any code, and it's all, dope. Now, it doesn't all work, but all this stuff doesn't all work either. So
that's it. And we need to be like anything you use in life. You don't just take one thing as the gospel. You're not checking stuff you care about against other things and against multiple things. Then you haven't really learned how to learn, sort of thing. And that whole self-education always involves multiple.
Yeah, it's a multimodal thing in the sense that you have to use different styles and different tricks and different things. So like, I think it's good to read books about programming, and it's good to copy paste about programming. It's good to do this thing about programming. It's good to use all of these different, techniques, and no one approach gets you everything you want. And so, it's kind of analogous in many ways to the history of science and how people think science works versus how it actually works. And, there's no actual procedure that people followed in the past. They use little tricks and it worked.
Yeah. And also many ways to get to the same point, which is beautiful. That's what I love. It's like, that's the same. There's the same thing. There's multiple ways, in some cases, multiple languages.
So, I think AI is really, I'm a doomer in the sense that, maybe AI is not going to kill everyone, but it's definitely going to end contemporary society, as we know it. I'm less of a doomer now than I originally was.
It's just evolving. We're evolving. We're just at a cultural. We're just at a big point now in humanity where things are going to massively change, and it will be disruptive immediately. It won't be easy. It's happening. It's there. We can't really can't escape it at this point. And a lot of concerns are certainly valid ones.
The question
also, there's a lot of humans doing a lot of jobs they shouldn't. There's a lot of humans out there doing jobs which have all. There's. I don't know. I heard some statistic. Now, whether this is fucking true or not, I'm not sure. Something like 60% of jobs people do weren't even around pre-Second World War anyway. So jobs get and other jobs get created. This, that. Here we, this is it. Life isn't stagnant. And it's gonna change. It's gonna evolve, and as technology is evolving us,
what if
than
you
the
just
other
type
way
in a box
around.
like create any website, create a new blockchain, create any thing. And it really almost is that today, is the truth. Like I wrote this program, and we're going to try to do it on here, but I wrote this, like, actually it took me freaking forever to basically take a audio track and create a video for that is made up of DALL-y images generated by snippets of the transcript. So like every sentence turned into an image or whatever. And so that is something a while ago, before AI, if you asked me to do that, I'd be like, oh goodness, I'm gonna have to learn so much, because you have to get the transcription, you have to know about how to get into DALL-y, you have to put the text on the image. That uses image magic, the little wizard that we opened this with. You have to create a video from this where each image is shown for a set period of time, like 5 seconds here, 8 seconds here, if you combine it with the audio. And I couldn't get that part to work. I combined it with the audio in iMovie, but everything else I got to work, and I was just constantly pounding the AI. Tell me how to do this. Tell me how to do this. Tell me how to do this. And
this is my life. That's my life. Every fucking day.
It was dope.
Well, it breaks barriers down, like those ideas that you think okay, it's not easy, man. Like nothing's like this is the thing, people, well, if AI can just do this, no, it's not easy. It's just we're developing new skills and understanding how to work with AI and use it. If you want to do interesting shit, you can put anything in and it's going to give you something cool. Okay, fine. If you're actually creatively trying to push yourself, push your own practice, like, and your own work forward, like you're gonna, you will use it in interesting ways. So it becomes a new skill. It just becomes a new thing. The way we talk to AI is the skill in itself. That is the art. The prompt is the art. Understanding what models you're using, understanding how to fine tune certain models, understanding how to make your own multi-specific, use case specific models is the art. So it's changing. Our art's changing. Everything's changing. And I'd embrace it fully. I love embracing it as someone, a self kind of claimed technophobe, in my from my 20s to things,
Yeah, but at the same time, there is something called, we have our observational frame, so to speak, and then we have some belief about realism within that. So like, as an example, you go to talk to someone and you can kind of size them up based on a conversation. You can sort of tell basically where they're from, maybe listen to the accent. You can sort of tell their worldview. Maybe you can even make some evaluations about them. Do you want to have them work at your company? You can go to a programmer and you can say, hey, program this thing, or answer questions about programming or whatever. You can look at a piece of code and say, what is the provenance? You can look at an image and say, how did this get created? But what if none of that is going to be valid? Like, you're never going to be able to find out any information about a person. You're never going to be able to find out any information about where an artifact, artwork, program came from. You're never going to be able to find out how it actually works, even if you knew where it came from, because it's generated by super complicated AI stuff no one understands. So you will not be able to have the same basic frame. Now, we know life isn't realism, right? We know you can talk to someone and they can deceive you or trick you. People trick other people into hiring them, do good at interviews, whatever. But what if it's all that? You cannot look at anything and understand, anything. And of course, there's precedent for this kind of thing throughout history. Like, if you really think about the Galileo thing and like the Earth moving, there was this famous thing called the Tower argument, where there was basically this idea that if you drop a stone from the top of a tower, if the Earth moves, then the stone will have moved and will hit not at the base of the tower, but like in an arc away from the tower, because the Earth moves and the stone, the tower argument, right? Now, another argument would be jump up in the air, and why does the Earth move out from under you or whatever? Like, these were arguments that were, deployed as proof that the Earth didn't move. They were experiments, proving the Earth didn't move. And so we had to have our whole thing different. It's kind of wild to even imagine the Earth moving, right? So, we could have a whole different frame, but I think there's a lot of social stuff built around this idea that you can, like, for the most part, figure out what's going on by interacting with it. Like, you go to a museum, you look at a pretty picture, you have a feeling, right? Like, I don't know. How do you interact with the world when the whole frame is changed? It's just, I don't think there's any way.
This is the shift, isn't it? This is it.
Mhm.
This is the shift that's happening, where it's like we're actually about to enter into a world where it's very hard for us to even conceive what's about to happen, and how different it's going to be. But it is, and it's just going to take. I don't know what it's going to take. I mean, it's just happening, man. Like it's just happening, right? It's like I don't know what's going to happen, but it's like it's happening. And I suppose as an artist, it's exciting because it's as an artist, it's like how do you we live in this world where everything's been on. You hear this track, that's from this, that's from that, everything's this reference. I call it like a fourth hand reference culture, because there's a whole generation that isn't interested in where things came from. They are, and like AI is the amalgamation of this. It's taking everything, and it's just like I don't actually know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, well, I think, and this was something with Genius we always would talk about, like, okay, this song uses the beat from this song, which uses it from this song, and then it's canon in D in the end of the way.
Yeah.
And so there's this idea that, hey, everything's a remix, and there's no sense to say original or whatever. It's all just like copy paste and whatever, fine. But the notion is there's some way to analyze this. There's some notion of criticism, where you don't have to look at the world just as it is. You can kind of try to peel back the layers and make a commentary or see what's going on. You can do something called analysis to it. And that's what my music website that I started, Genius, was all about, is kind of analyzing music. And then you see, oh, this is from this other thing. But with the AI thing, it is now not possible to do that. You will not be able to, if you ask the AI to generate code or a poem or whatever, it's going to be unique, new. It's going to be new. It's going to come from the previous human things that have happened before.
I never thought about that, but it's indeed true. You can't make annotations with AI art, or can you?
Well, I don't know. This is what we're trying. This is what it takes us to try and do it. Yeah, we've got to try, because it's like having a new pigment. It's like when they first discovered a certain pigment that made you feel a certain way as an artist. That's how I see AI. Like, we have this new pigment that no one's ever fucking used before. And excuse me for, but if we just artists, I feel like I have not a responsibility, but it's like I've got to see where this goes, even if I don't know where it's going. You never know where, being an artist, you never know where things are going anyway. You're just kind of, but I've never been excited like this before, in a way about art in my practice, because it's weird, man. I like it, I don't know what is going on. I don't know what I'm doing with it necessarily. I couldn't, but embracing it, I suppose, is it.
But you think about a kid, right? I have 1 year old, 3 years old, basically younger than 5, or younger, like young kid, basically, that does not have any real thing with the world. And you kind of look at this person and you say, okay, what is going to happen here? And it's scary enough with the smartphones, obviously, and that whole thing. I mean, I went to college, there were no smartphones. Imagine you're at a party, you're uncomfortable, you can't even look at your phone. The only thing you can do is pretend to go to the bathroom in order to escape the awkwardness. You can't actually just zone in on your phone. My camera keeps shutting down due to the heat in here or something. Very annoying. The point being, no one's kids are going to learn how to do any of these things, like anything. Isn't that weird? They're never going to.
But what if AI they do, and they do it through AI, like AI spark something, and then I don't know what I was about to just start saying.
Okay. Right. So yeah, I think that is
there's one thing I want to talk about just very quick, or just mention very quickly, is the NVIDIA guy, Jensen Huang, I think is that how you pronounce his name? This guy, the NVIDIA CEO.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. So yeah. Yes.
Yeah. He has an amazing selection of leather jackets he likes to wear, and I'm just really interested in all his different leather jackets that he has on, because he always has a different one on. And I just wanted to point that out because I'd like to know where he gets them from.
Yeah, let's check this out. Okay, yeah, this is
really
a good meme.
into his leather jackets.
Yeah, okay, good meme. Good meme. Good meme.
Yeah.
I didn't know about this meme. Good meme.
Right? I mean, he's a rock star in his eyes, right? I mean,
yeah, it is interesting. You know, you're the
kind of a rock star in my eyes.
yeah. I mean, he's
A
certainly
lot of leather
gone
jackets,
from
right? Different styles. I mean,
Yeah.
he's doing it.
you really want to do
doing
the same thing every time.
He
Vibe.
is. He's doing it. He's
But yeah, you know, NVIDIA, I don't think anyone would have predicted this. Like when I was a kid, NVIDIA was like you'd buy what's called a graphics card and you'd put it in your computer, you know, and you'd plug your monitor into that card and you'd play Quake or whatever. And, you know, in some sense, on the consumer side, that seemed like extremely parochial. What does that word mean, parochial? It seemed like somewhat parochial. In other words, who is going to open up their computer and put a card in it to play a game, you know, like 2% of the universe or whatever. And yet, you know, it's like, aren't people going to use the PlayStation, which might have an NVIDIA chip in it as far as I understand. But now they figured out it's ordinals, really. It's like these GPUs are so important for all these other things. It's graphics. So no. The, you know, use things for what they're intended for. Police are coming for this guy and saying, listen, sorry, man, you can't use GPUs for that. They weren't made for that. It's going to be now hard to get the space to use them to play Quake 3 Arena. You know, so that's like a fascinating one, really. Yeah, that's kind of pretty amazing that if I didn't play Quake in high school, none of you would be here, you know?
Hell yeah. I mean, the gaming, it's good point. I mean, the influence of gaming culture on what the world's about to become and is now is immense. It's immense, and no one would have ever thought.
Yeah, and then even, you know, you look at something like Stack Overflow, even orgenius.com, which was basically a ripoff of Stack Overflow in terms of the mechanics, like, and Wikipedia sort of does this, but, you know, the idea behind stackoverflow.com is you come and people think they are playing a game, but really they are generating knowledge. You know what I mean? There's like there are scraps that fall off the table from the game, and those scraps are actually knowledge. And the people playing the game, I feel like there's some kind of story about this. The people playing the game don't have to know what they're actually doing. And of course they do know and whatever, but you know, in this case, that's happening too. So you've got to let people bend the rules of what was intended, because that might be good. At the same time, there have to be some limits. You know, you can't have the scientist who says, no, we're going to try human sacrifice again. You know, see if run it back, you know? So you can't let them do that. And yet you can let them ruin Bitcoin. So, you know, how do you rein in, you know, I guess democracy would be the way. But then you look at the people in politics, and they can't possibly keep up with all this crazy stuff going on. So you really are in, you know, one way to look at it is you're really in a tenuous situation. You are in a situation where no one knows what is going on. No one can control anything. Most things probably shouldn't be controlled. Oof. This is why I live in the country. You know, I don't go to cities. Never have, never will. No, I have, but I just think I need, you know, you have to learn from nature, right? And one thing nature is it's not changing in a crazy way. I mean, it is, but like, you know what I mean? Like the trees around my house, pre-Bitcoin, they look basically the same as they do now, you know? So can we learn something from that? You know, is there something to be learned from nature, or do we reject nature and say we have to kill everyone? You know, that seems
is this
like
not part of nature though? Are we're is it not this evolution AI? Is it
no,
not
it's true. We are part of nature, or are we? You know, I mean, why don't we just say
what
what
is nature? This is a great a really interesting point, maybe for another time.
Plants is nature.
Yeah.
Can we learn anything from plants? But no, it's just part of one thing, and everything feeds off one another. And the reason we're able to be so dank is because trees don't change. I get it.
You can learn from plants that you need to drink water and shit, you know. So
yeah,
that's a good.
True. And I'm at war with nature. You know, I get a tick on me. I'm at war. So it's not all love. You know, it's like So you really can't turn to anything. So how do you live? How do you decide how to live? You just flip a coin every day? I don't know.
Yeah, you take
Oof.
every day as it comes. That's life. One foot in front of the other. Everything's uncertain.
Yeah, so
life is uncertain. It's like our well-being is isn't in our control. As
what
well,
about
I
history?
suppose.
Can we learn? Can we say what happened in the past? Because if you could say what happened, then it seems like you could learn from it because you have greater perspective than you have about or the present. But no one can actually say what happened. And yeah, this is called modernism, I think. I don't know. So, okay, final thoughts. I'm getting too anxious to continue this conversation. Where can people give you money, Max? Let's be honest. We live in a society. Where can people give you money? What can people buy of yours? I know there is a little thing called this. Nothing is for sale, or maybe some things are.
I don't
Nothing's for
have
sale.
anything for. I've got all. I've just been working for someone over the last couple of months and got tons of work that I need to mint. I've got a project which is all basically taking my collages. I've used a text to an image to 3D model, or misusing an image to 3D model to make some kind of strange digital
All
sculptural
right, you have this.
pieces. I'm gonna mint them. And I need to have them for sale. But at the moment, I don't think anything's there immediately. But feel free to send any amount of Ethereum to Max Fowler .eth.
Oh hell yeah, that's the new trend, right? That I think also is good. That coincides with
I plan no, so just say
because you
like,
send the ETH to
codes will
someone,
stay on.
and that's using it for its original intention, sending money. So that's actually the most pure thing you can do. Max Fowler has been our guest today. He's got a lot of interesting stuff going on, philosophies, new art coming as well. Max M. Fowler on Twitter. He's also on OpenSea. You can check this one out. You see what I'm talking about right now. And then you can go and you can really see something pretty interesting on base40m-2.neocities.org, which is his upcoming work abusing the third three-dimensionality. Great chat. I always know a great podcast when I'm completely unnerved. Now I have to face the world. Today, Pib, what do you think? What are your final thoughts on this? Pib, by the way, is a Bitcoin OG, so I always turn to him.
How did I'm looking at the 3D model now, Max? How did you make it, or in what did you make it?
Well, it's an image to 3D using I think that one was using the .py files. So it's a model. I can share it with you. I can share the model with you.
It indeed reminds me a bit of the scans they do, which is also image to like they make scans of a place and then they turn it into a 3D model.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
They use it a lot in architecture. Like they go to a building and take an entire scan of the building and then turn it into a model. So
I think it's a lot of it's like that kind of architectural thing is used a lot in that, isn't it? Yeah,
I love it. I think this is cool.
Oh, final thought about the ordinals. Maybe it's just a test Bitcoin. The ordinals, just a test.
So we're going to be in a month. We're going to be looking back and saying, "Ha! That was a test. Now we're on to the real, the Ordinals X, or they were gone, and it's a new thing." So, yeah, maybe it's just a fad. Maybe it's just a test. Maybe it's just giving us content.
How is it? Give me your hardest battles.
What doesn't kill Bitcoin makes it stronger. Okay, so that's an optimism element to that. Thank you for that, Pib. This is all just a test. Everything you saw in this pod was just a test. Now you are stronger. You know more. This has been the Capsule 21 podcast. We had an amazing guest, Max Fowler. We had an amazing conversation. If you're listening to this, if you're someone who made it this far, I got great news. You are next. And I've got some other also great news. We are next week coming at you again with another Capsule 21 podcast every week, once a week, until we are dead. Have a great weekend. I don't know when you're listening to this, but the next weekend is going to be great for you, I'm sure. Capsule 21 out.